Alright, testing. It's connecting. Alright, testing. Alright, we're recording. Alright, Department of Transportation Pipeline Hazard Material Safety Administration that has material grant with the grant cooperative agreement, the terms and conditions of the confidential definition recipient responsible to be claimed with the award determines the order of precedence, uniform administrative requirements, cost principle, audit requirements for federal award title 2 CFR 20, restriction and use of funds lobbying, supporting litigation, directive advocacy, the non-discrimination, the government-wide department inspection, non-procurement, drug-free workplace, e-invoicing, PHMSA, June 2018. Advance payment process, adhering to the original project objective of the budget estimate, the prior approval of the contracting small business, small minority disadvantaged businesses, small business for the women-owned, veteran-owned, the disabled veteran award located in zone areas, seatbelt use for the policy and programs, ban of the text message while driving, ban on text message while driving, rights to technical data, notice of news release, public announcement presentations, violating award terms, reporting fraud, waste and abuse, reporting grant executive compensation, first area sub awards, 811 call before you dig program, access to electronic information technology, combating trafficking, in person, prohibition awarding at these required certain individual agreements, copyrights and reporting. Our definition: recipient, non-federal, any recipient of the federal award, directly with the federal award agency care of the active of the federal program. The term of the recipient does include the recipient program authorizing official delegated authority to execute the grant agreement. Any change of the scope of the detail of the scope of any other term becomes necessary. The program authorizing official according with the authorizing agreement officer have the authority to amend the award agreement. Awarding agreement officer with the agreement officer the authority obligated with the government expenditure for the federal funds under this award. Grant specialist, the grant specialist is responsible for the daily administration of the award. Grant specialist is not authorized to change the scope of the budget, the specifications, term of the conditions, save the award to make the commitments they are otherwise obligated. Government authority, change with effect with the award, budget, the delivery schedule, period, performance of the terms and conditions. Recipient authorized grantee of the official individual with the recipient organization authority legally, financially bind with the organization recipient responsible to file with the agency policy procedures, ensuring authorized official with the update of the sign of the grant agreement with the endorse any other prior approval of the agreement approval sections. Recipient project director of the individual designated the recipient who is responsible for the technical direction of the program and the project responsibility recipient responsibility and safety with the PHMSA financial system or the grant of cooperative agreement with the recipient issue with the legal financial administrative the problematic responsibility for the administrative of the award in accordance with the laws, rules, regulations, executive order, government grant of the cooperative agreements and these award term conditions include the responsibility compliance with the provisions included with the award compliance with the award term conditions submission with the sign of the record of the reimbursement payment of the record of the council with the recipient agreements with comply with the specified spend funds with consistent with the term with the conditions of the award. PHMSA determined the non-compliant with the recipient cannot be remedied. They impose the conditional conditions. PHMSA may take one or more of the following actions appropriate to the circumstances. Temporarily withhold cash payment of the pending of the correction of the deficiency by the recipient, disallow the part of the cost of the cast of activity of the action not compliant, wholly partly suspend, terminate the federal award, initiate some mention debarment proceedings of the authorized entitled to Part 180, withhold further federal award of the project program, take other remedies may be legal available. The order inconsistent with the conflicting term of the conditions specified in the award will be resolved in accordance with the following order of precedence. A federal state regular authorization awarding any other federal state law of the regulation directly affecting the performance of the award terms and conditions award. Uniform administrative requirement cost principal audit requirements federal award title 2 CFR 200 requirements that any recipient request that must comply with the requirements include with the cost principal they apply with the recipient. Audit requirements of the recipient must follow the recipient exceeding which expand with $750,000 or more federal funds. The recipient official year must have the audit conducted. Title 2 CFR is incorporated with reference of the award restricting use of the funds lobbying supporting litigation direct advocacy of the recipient. The contract may use the grant funds lobbying and direct support litigation direct advocacy against for or against pipeline construction expansion project. The recipient contract is made to conduct with the political lobbying and defined with the statute regulation. Title 2, CFR 200-450, lobbying with the federal support of the project recipient contractors may not use the federal funds lobbied with specifically to obtain grant with the cooperative agreement with the recipient with the contractor with the Title 49 CFR 200 use the Department of Transportation on restriction on lobbying. Title 49 CFR 2 with incorporated reference on award. Non-discriminated with the recipient must comply with the Title 6 of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 by the no person in the United States on the ground of race, color, of the national origin. With the participation denied benefits to be subject with discrimination on the project of the program and any activity and receive the federal financial assistance. Recipients must comply with the Title 49 CFR 21 non-descriptive federal assistance with the program with the Department of Transportation fluency with the Title 6 of the Civil Rights Act 1964, Title 49 CFR 21, and the reference of the war. If the effort of the insurance for the recipient of the PHMSA funded war, but they are the responsible individual for civil rights litigation and laws regulation, PHMSA official rights, they have developed an information tool and trained with the documentation of the file of the PHMSA, phmsa.gov about PHMSA civil rights grant recipient information should have any of the questions concerning the responsibilities of the external civil rights program. Contact recipient Goodwill Civil Rights Director 202-366-9638 with the email of roseannegoodwill@gov. Government will deembark suspension and no procurement. The recipient review list of parties will exclude the federal procurement of the non-procurement program listed with the SAM's website before entering a sub-award. SAMS.gov, the no sub-award may be issued to any person identified list parties of the excluded federal procurement of the non-procurement programs. Title 2, 1200, Title 2, CFR 1200, the procurement suspension department incorporated with this bar. The recipient must inform the procurement agreement officer with the recipient to suspend the debarment and subawardment. 9. Drug-free workplace. The recipient must have a provision Public Law 196-90 with the Title 5 the subpart D drug play of 1988. Requirement of the recipient to have the drug-free workplace. The recipient must comply with the Title 49-32 of the government-wide requirement of drug-free workplace financial assistance. Incorporated with the reference of this award invoicing PHMSA June 2018. Remember, the PHMSA grant cooperative agreements must issue with the Delphiny invoice system. The recipient must internet access with the register, submit the payment request of the Delphiny invoice system, submit payment request electronically, receive the payment electronically, system user requirements, contact assisted, assigned grant specialist directly sign up for a system. PHMSA provide the recipient email address of the Dow Financial Management official, the Dow Financial Management official signed by the recipient sign up with the system that will send the recipient either their account application to verify the identity of the recipient, include the form president of the notary public for verification. Recipient will return the notarized forms as follows: Viva U.S. Postal Service, VSV, certified FedEx or UPS, and C waivers. Dow Financial Management official may case by case waive the requirement of the register of the electronic payments if the waiver requires them to call the invoice in the e-invoicing system transportation.gov CFO Delta invoice system HTML. By contacting PHMSA agreement officer, the recipient must explain the way and unable to even access the internet and submit payment requests. Alright, 11. Payments. Reimbursement payment will be made electronically. Receive the invoice for the system and request the advance for the reimbursement stamp form 270 with the method name of the government will make an assessment. All payment with the agreement with electronically fund transfer to example the provide with the paragraph A2 with the the EF2 or the electronic fund transfer refers to the fund transfer made with the include the payment and include information transfer. If the government is unable to release one or more of the electronic fund transfer, the recipient either to accept the payment or reject some other mutual agreement to path of the payment. With the government to accept the payment to do the time the government can make payment of the electronic funding transfer, but subparagraph D of this clause. Recipient of the electronic fund transfer information government will make payment of the recipient of the electronic fund transfer information contained with the system or management database. The electronic fund training the information changes the recipient responsible to provide with the information system or management is SAMS.gov. Mechanism of electronic funding transfer payment. Government make up with the payment of the electronic fund transfer through the automated clearinghouse network. Subject to the rules of the National Automated Clearinghouse Association and Federal Water Transfer System. Rules governing federal payments of the Automated Clearinghouse contained in 31 CFR Part 210. Submission payment of the recipient of electronic fund transfer of the information of the same of the database. Incorrect. The government is not obligated to make the payment of the recipient of the agreement with the electronic fund transfer information entered with the same database. And invoice agreement. The final quote is not proper. Invoice for the purpose of the proper payment but under this agreement. Recipients of the electronic fund transfer agreement arrangements. The recipient identified multiple payment of receiving points more than one remittance of the draft of the electronic funding transfer information sub the data same database for the recipient not infer over the government with a payment receiving the point applicable to the agreement. The government will make payment with the first payment and receive the point electronic fund transfer information remittance. Addresses applicable list within SAM the database. Liability is incomplete with the erroneous transfer. The uncompleted erroneous transfer occurred with the government use recipient the electronic fund transfer information incorrectly. The government remains responsible for making the correct payment, paying the promptly penalty due, and recovering areas directed erroneous directed funds. Alright, it's incomplete with the erroneous transfer occurred with the recipient the electronic fund transfer incorrect information is incorrect with the Bruce 5 in the 30 days of the government released electronic fund transfer payment transfer instruction of the Federal Reserve System. the funds no longer under the control of the payment official with the government deemed had made with the payment of the recipient responsible for the recovery of the earnings direct fund, but the funds remain under the control of the payment official office. Government will not make them provision to pick up the deed of the clause. Apply. Electronic funding transfer of the prompt payment made when they made with the timely manner of the court with the prompt payment determined with the agreement with the electronic fund transfer with the payment the transaction instruction relate of the Federal Reserve System of the day specified the settlement of the payment with the honorable before the prompt payment due date with the specified payment date is validated under the rule of the Federal Reserve System. Electronic fund transferring assigned claims. If the recipient signed the receiver agreement, the recipient must require the condition of the sign the signing or signer of the register with the same database may be the electronic fund transfer in accordance with the term of the clause. The respect with the requirements of the clause will apply with the signer of the recipient of the electronic fund transfer information show the ultimate transfer of the recipient in the absence of the property signed claims applicable to the government with incorrect with the electronic fund transfer information meaning with the paragraph D of this clause. Alright, liability change of the electronic fund transfer information financial agreement agent with the recipient. The government is no liable to resulting of the change of the electronic funding transfer information made with the recipient financial agent. Alright, payment information. The payment of the disbursing official with the recipient available the payment information suitable transmission date for the relief electronic fund transfer and Federal Reserve System. The government may require the recipient designated the desired format method of delivery with the payment of the information listed in the format and method of the payment office capable executing. However, the government does not guarantee for any of the particular format method of delivery is available to the particular payment office latitude for the format delivery method the most convenient to the government. The government makes the payment in the paragraph A of the clause. The government will make the payment information be database. 49 CFR 110 with the authorized PHMSA issue the payment of the grant recipient must receive the approval of the PHMSA must meet required criteria in advance. Advance payments made to recipients must possess final management system standard the control with the accountable established Title 2 CFR 103 out 2 or other awards issued with the after the date with the must receive the ensure the advance payment required with the limited with the minimum of the needed time to be the according to the actual immediate cash requirements carrying out the purpose of the approved program and the approved project for the recipient must deposit the maintain advance payments and insurance accounts whenever possible. You unless receive less than $120,000 federal awards or warrants for the damage of the responsible available interest-bearing account with the would not be expected with interest over the excess of $500 per year federal cash balance with $250 awarded issued prior to December 26, 2014. Recipients submit the advance payments based on the cash payment and even not occur. Liability recipient must be remain compliant with the term and condition of the award recipient and debt with the United States government. The recipient is the same as the recipient. Registration is currently active at the time of the advance of the payment request. Recipients maintain support documentation for the files made with available upon the request PHMSA in order to adhere with the applicable principal statute regulation. PHMSA office the monitoring for the grantee and recover the payment of the beyond immediate dispersing need with the exceeding balances that will promptly return to the Treasury. Your advance prior payment process. The request for the advance payment along with the electronic payment system of the creator over the submit the invoice complete this same form 270 with the form with advance payment record the process of the similar requesting reimbursement of the grant with a special assignment of your account will receive the email grant generated from the system involved in detail of the advance payment the fully disbursed for the checks writing the assignment of the issue the paid within 30 days after you receive the advance funds for the U.S. Treasury advance payment the request submitted the earlier than 10 day business days prior to the beginning of the period of which the funds are requested. The PHMSA which are called the following criteria: award balance sufficient to meet the advance payout requested. The evaluation will be based on cash basis and not accrued liability. You have to satisfy program requirements of including submission required federal financial reports the prior quarter period request for all allowable expenditures. Alright, 14. Adherence to the original project objective of the budget. Estimates recipient for the commitment, the expense for the incur for the excess of the funds provided in the award period awarded cover for the incur for the prior for the effect of the day of the federal award directly pursuant to the negotiation and anticipation federal award of the cost necessary for assurance and timely performance scope of the work of the cost such costs allowable only to the extent that it would have been allowable if incurred the day of the federal award only with a written approval of the program authorizing official and delegate. The recipient must submit the name proposed name of the request of the PHMSA written approval 30 days prior to the request of the effective day of the proposed change of the PHMSA will not approve the change of award during the last 30 days of the award period. Alright, 15. Prior approval of the following expenditure for the procurement authorizing agent of the advance written approval of the change the scope of the objective, the key personal reference of the recipient proposal of the change of the project. The PHMSA review the request no later than 30 calendar days at the end of the project period. The recipient must submit the revised budget indicating the plan used at all and expected funds during extension period. The recipient must submit the revised financial estimate plan for 1 and 2 above, the Phmsa will not notify the recipient written in the 30 calendar days for the receipt of the request of the provision adjustment with the request has been approved. R16, contracting small business, and well, we're going to skip the small business part. I just want to get this over with. Seat belts, we can skip seat belts. Ban on text messaging while driving, we'll skip that. Rights to technical data, rights to intangible property with agreement of the government with Title 2 CFR 203-15 intangible property. All right, notice over the news release, public announcement presentation. Recipients must have the public authorizing of officer prior approval of all press release and formal announcements of the land written issue with its containing new information concerning the agreement before issuance. Violation award term of the recipient material filed to comply with the determined award of the public procurement agreement officer may be suspend, terminate, and take other remedies that made eligible, available, appropriate in circumstances. Reporting fraud and waste and abuse of the Inspector General maintains free, toll-free hotline receiving information concerning fraud and abuse of the grants cooperative agreement. Such reports are kept confidential. Callers decline to give their names if they remain anonymous. The number is 800-424-9071. Mailing address, Inspector General Hotline, 12 New Jersey, New New Southwest Washington Building, D.C. Reporting grantee executive compensation first terrier subawards, Phmsa, October 2010. Our definition uses the executive means officer employed with a management position for terrier subawards, meaning the awards issued with the directly primary award subaward and provide the support they perform with any portion of the substantial project of the program award was received. The subaward included the agreement, prime awardee or subawardee can serve the contract total compensation, meaning the cash, non-cash dollar value earned executive during the awards proceeding this year include the following salary bonus, award stock options, stock appreciation rights, earnings service of the non-equity incentive of the plans if it doesn't include the group of the health or hospitalization, medical reimbursement if it does not discriminate for the favor of the executive available to general to all salaried employees, change in pension value with the present value of the death benefit the actual pension plan above marketing earnings of compensation non-tax qualified, and 6 other compensation aggregated value other than such compensation. See surveillance termination payments value of life then paid on behalf of the employment and prerequisite property for exceeding $10,000. System award management system and notification subawards. Awards require the information subawards law require the reported information made public of the awardee responsible for notifying the subawards required information made public. Alright, required first terrier subawards. End of the month, the first subaward for $20,000 or more award should be information from the FSRS.gov. Each first terrier subaward award shall follow the instruction FSRS.gov. Report the data of the awardee the previous tax year gross income of the source of all sources under $300,000 award except from the government. Report subcontractor award subaward previous tax award holding gross income of all sources of $300,000 awardee does not need to report awards on subawardee. Alright, you got a unique identifier, your DUNS number for the subaward, receiving the award subaward parent company, the subaward parent company name of the subawardee, amount of subaward date of subaward description, effort you can provide with the subaward, including overall proposed expected outcome result of the subaward number of time of the awardee, subaward physical address, including street address, city statements in the country, 9 digits, zip code, congressional district, subaward primary performance location, street address, city name, country, 9 digits, zip, congressional district, prime award number, assigned by Phmsa, award agency name, Phmsa, funding agency name, Phmsa, government awarding officer code 556, treasury account symbol of the report with the federal system data award data system, applicable North American industrial classification code. A reporting executive compensation awardee previous tax title gross income of the under $300,000 award is exempt from the requirement of the executive compensation by ending the following the month. The recipient prime award annual thereafter this report the name of the total compensation each of the 5 monthly compensated of the executive award preceding the completed fiscal year of the name of the government award preceding fiscal year of the award received the 80% of the annual gross revenue federal contracts, subcontracts, loan grants, awards, cooperative agreements, other transaction agreements, $25 million more annual gross revenue federal contracts, subgrants, and loan grants, sub award with cooperative grants, other transaction agreements. Public does not have the access to information compensation executive of the periodic reports filed until 13A, 15D with the Securities Exchange Act of 1934 and or Section 6104 of the Internal Revenue Code of 1986, and then reporting executive compensation sub awards if the awardee is previously with the grant the gross income of all sources under 300,000 award exempt of the requirement exempt exactly compensation sub-award if the previous tax year for the gross income all resources of under 300,000 award is not the report compensation sub-award. By the end of the month, the following month of the first year, sub-award of the value of the 25,000 or more annually of the short report the name of the total compensation each of the filing most highly compensated executive of the first year sub-award with the sub-award proceeding complete with the fish SSRS .gov if the sub-award proceeding with the words received 8% more of the annual gross received with the federal contract loan grant cooperative agreements transaction agreement $25 million or more in the annual gross revenue with the federal contract loan grants cooperative agreements out of the transaction agreements. Public does not have the access to information compensation executive periodic reports style under 13A 15G Security Exchange Act of 1934 section C104 C104 Revenue Internal 1986 all right 24 811 public dig program and then look access electronic information electronic information partnership that must be in with electronic information training technology standard style 36 for implementation section 508 Rehabilitation Act 1973 served in the top 29 U.S. United States Code 794D Phmsa office the right for the responsible going question certified in 508 compliant with the requirement you can read the page Phmsa official right Office of Civil Rights combating trafficking in person Phmsa terminate the cooperative grant for taking any other criminal actions authorized until 22 State United States 7104 without penalty for the grantee or sub-grantee get the use of labor recruiters, brokers, or other agents engaging in the form of the trafficking in persons procurement of the commercial sector during the period of time the grant with the cooperative agreement is in effect. Use of forced labor and performance of the grant with the cooperative agreement that you acts for the directly support and advance trafficking in person including the following acts, and I guess that's trafficking Alright, prohibition these require certain internal confidentiality ability. Recipient shall not require the employees of contract receive the report fraud waste and abuse comply with the internal confidential agreement that statement that prohibiting authorized restricting of such employees of contract lawful reporting solid waste and fraud and abuse designated by the investigating law enforcement representative federal department and agency authorized receives such information. Recipients shall notify the employees prohibition restriction and internal confidential agreements cover that they are no longer in effect. Prohibition paragraph A that does not contravene response requirements stand Form 321 and Form 44414. 4414. Any other issue for the federal department agency governing the non-disclosure classified in accordance with 743 Division E Title 7 the consolidated further continuing resolution appropriations Act of 2015 under any other act may prohibit the government determines recipient is complying with the provisions thereof. Government may seek available remedy for the recipient fails to comply with provisions herein. European Phmsa reserve the royalty free of the national with a revocable license to reproduce, publish, otherwise authorized or use the federal government purpose of the copyright any work developed within the grant subaward grant contract under the grant subaward any rights of copyright to which recipient subrecipient contract or purchase ownership of the grant support. Her reporting mid-year financial report stand Form 425 mid-year financial federal financial report updated the half of the first half of the performance report cumulative of the mid-year financial federal financial report is due no later than 5 p.m. Eastern Standard April 30th of the performance year. Mid-year performance report report form Office of Management Budget Control number 2137-0586 provides status activity performed during the first half of the performance period with mid-year performance due no later than 5 p.m. Eastern April 30th of the performance year. End of the year financial report. Federal financial report close out financial reporting of the performance period. End of the financial no later than the December 30th, 90 days after the end of the performance period. Alright, end of the performance report, financial report, Office of Management Control number 2137-0586 provides status for the activities performed and enter of the performance period. End of performance report due no later than 5 p.m. Eastern December 30th, 90 days after the date of the performance period. At the request extension due date, mid-end of the year reports made with the Phmsa no later than 30 days before the ending of the report. The request must be included the reason for the request and requested due date. Alright, and this is your discrimination assurance law, and in Appendix A, clauses of the deeds and transfer to the United States state property, real property acquired, improved activity facility program. Clauses for construction access to real property, or or use of access to real property under the activity facility or program. And then Appendix E is pertinent non-discriminating authority, certification regarding lobbying, deburring. And then it goes,